I've had a few people reach out recently saying they're either new to photography or they've got to that point in their photographic journey where they're ready to start doing some post-production on their images because they want their images to be better and they don't know where to start. So the intention with this video is to try and set some basic parameters for those people. Let's go. Hi and welcome to episode 148 of Understanding Darktable. It's quite likely the case that you've either been shooting with small, cheap cameras or you've just been shooting with your phone for years and years and years. And most of those devices probably defaulted to capturing in JPEG. So you're probably still shooting JPEG. And I'm not here to judge you for that. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I shoot RAW exclusively. But I don't want to go down the technological rabbit hole of the pros and cons of JPEG versus RAW. Not in this video, because I feel like I would immediately alienate the very people that this video is trying to reach. So maybe we'll just park that off to the side and that can be a subject for a future video. If you've got to that point where you're thinking, I want my photos to be better, you probably already recognize that some of it is going to come down to the way you shoot and some of it will come down to post-processing. Now, I don't want to go into how to shoot a good photograph. I don't feel like it's my strength to tell you that stuff. You might like my photos and think, what on earth is he talking about? But there are 1,000 other channels on YouTube that will teach you how to shoot, and they probably do it a whole lot better than I could do it. So I would say go do a search and see what you find. In terms of where to start with post-processing an image, understand that a JPEG is always going to have a lot of stuff baked into it by the manufacturer. Things like a contrast curve, some saturation. Your camera is probably shooting on auto white balance, and most of the time that'll do the job. But when you want to get better, you will start looking at the white balance setting that you are shooting with. And interesting side note, I saw a video only a couple of weeks ago on YouTube, and I will put it in the description down below. This guy talks about the fact that he never changes his white balance. His camera is permanently set to 5600 Kelvin. That's really got me intrigued because I can understand exactly why he does that. And I saw some of his images and I thought they looked fantastic. And it's got me thinking, could I try that with my own photography and would I be happy with the results? So that's going to be a little future project for me, I think. But anyway, I will link to that video. Even if you're not interested in setting one white balance and leaving it there forever, I do recommend watching that video because he talks about what white balance does and how it does it. And he does it in a very simple to understand manner. So definitely check that video out. Another thing that I would suggest you are probably going to want to do when editing your own images is to look at exposure. Now, again, don't want to flog the dead horse, but when you are shooting JPEG, you absolutely have to nail the exposure because there's very little wiggle room with a JPEG. RAW, on the other hand, a lot more forgiving. So learn how your camera's exposure meter works. That's that little indicator you see at the bottom of the viewfinder when you look through the viewfinder. That indicator is telling you whether your current settings are going to underexpose, correctly expose, or overexpose your image. Next, there's the color treatment. Now, if you're just starting with developing photos, you probably don't even know what it is you want to do with the color treatment of an image. You're probably looking at the in-camera JPEG and going, well, it looks really saturated and lovely, and it looks something like what I saw through the viewfinder, so why do I want to mess with that? And that's absolutely fine. You know, don't feel that you have to increase saturation on every single image, because you don't. Like I said, if you're shooting JPEG, all of that's baked in by the manufacturer anyway. And then there are a whole bunch of other things that you will probably want to explore. Cropping, for example. There's a whole range of camera brands and models on the market that when you look through the viewfinder, and full disclosure, my Sony a7 III is one of these cameras, does not show you 100% of what is going to be captured in the digital file when you actually press the shutter. On my a7 III, it's 98% coverage. And there are a bunch of other cameras that are like this. So no matter how well you compose your image, the reality is you're actually going to end up with a little bit more data around the edges than what you saw through the viewfinder. So you probably will end up wanting to crop a little bit. And I should have said at the outset, although maybe this comes back to how to shoot, I would say that there are two key things that will elevate your photography. So we're now talking about the process of actually shooting. And they are composition and light. Now, composition is what you decide to put in the frame and where you decide to put it. And there are 1,000 different rules on that, and we're not going to go down that rabbit hole here either. And light is critical. The word photograph comes from the Greek. Graph is to draw, photo is light. We are literally drawing with light. That's a massive field of study in itself. Choosing the light that you shoot in. You know, the direction of the light, the quantity of the light, the color of the light, the softness or hardness of that light. Again, these are all things that if you're just starting out on your journey, you will learn and you will expand your vocabulary over years to come. But, you know, you're not going to understand it all in the blink of an eye. But you'll get there. Don't worry about it. There are other things that you might want to do in the processing of your photograph. Softness or sharpness. Now, again, with a JPEG, there's a certain amount of sharpness already baked in, so how effective adding sharpening to an already cooked JPEG is going to be, I don't know. It comes down to your tolerance for the artifacts, I guess. Object removal. You know, that could be removing people from the background or removing phone poles growing out of people's heads because you didn't think to change the angle of the camera so that you didn't have a phone pole growing out of somebody's head. Or, you know, maybe it's a fence line in a landscape that you didn't want because the fence kind of ruined the image. You know, there's all sorts of things that you might want to remove from an image. Rotate and perspective. I mention those together because in Darktable that is one module, rotate and perspective. I have a personal bugbear about horizons that aren't straight, particularly when it's the ocean. If I see anything that's between, say, -8 degrees and +8 degrees, it just looks sloppy. If you go beyond that, it starts to look like there was some artistic intent to it. Again, maybe not my artistic intent, but I can at least appreciate that it was done deliberately. But when I see a horizon like that, it just looks sloppy. So you're probably going to want to rotate that image, straighten the horizon out, and you will then want to crop because otherwise you'll have these little black triangles around all four sides from where you rotated a perfectly rectangular image to something that was a little bit off that. And I get it. You're at the beach, you're photographing your family and you're looking through the viewfinder and you're looking at your family, you're not looking at the horizon. So it's an easy mistake to make. Hell, I've got plenty of images in my back catalogue that are guilty of that. But that's just a bugbear of mine. It doesn't have to be yours. Lens correction can be another thing that a lot of people obsess over. I personally don't stress about lens correction unless I see something obviously inherently wrong in the image that I recognize as being an artifact of the lens that I used. And that could be some barrel distortion or some pin cushioning. then I'll worry about it. But most of the time, the lenses that I shoot with are good lenses, and I don't obsess over that stuff as much as some people do, but each to their own, you know. So I guess those are the basics on what you might want to do with your image. And I haven't in this video specifically pointed to the tools in Darktable that will allow you to do all of these things, although hopefully by now you are at least familiar enough with Darktable to know. You know, when it comes to white balance, you've got the white balance module and you've got the color calibration module. If you are going to use the color calibration module, the white balance module definitely needs to be set to D65 or whatever that other option is that's D65 referenced to something, something, something. In terms of color treatment, I would absolutely point you towards the color balance RGB module. And in all of these cases, I've done videos on, you know, all of these modules at some point in the past. You might need to search my channel, but you will find that all of these things have been covered. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope this has given you at least a few things to think about, and I've probably presented more questions than I've given answers, and if I've done that, my apologies. Definitely happy to do a separate video where we dive into RAW versus JPEG and why you should choose one or the other, and, you know, the circumstances under which one will be better than the other. Questions, comments, sing out down below, and I'll catch you in the next one.